Hello everyone, and welcome back down here to the Gamer's Den with me, your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire. Sadly, not recording in the daytime again. It's been a long day of, well, errands, doing a lot of other video editing, preparing a belated birthday gift from my 90-year-old grandmother, and also lamenting the fact that more homework will be coming my way as we prepare for finals. But take heart, even in these trying times, even with the weight of tests bearing down upon us and the threat of plague sweeping across the world, we still can move forward, and there is nothing wrong with finding a bit of enjoyment in these times. So let's move right along with that, shall we, and get on to the subject of today's video for the DM guide, and that is mashups. What's a mashup? Well, it's where you take two different things and you put them together. You mash them together, you mix them, you stew them, you precisely and carefully put together and interconnect things and make something unique out of the mess. And you can do this with a wide variety of different things. I mean, there's so many different things that you can just put together. It helps if the subjects are of similar genres for the settings that you have in mind. For example, running a D20 modern game, specifically D20 future, very futuristic setting, I threw together a couple of different things. I wanted something relaxing and fun. It was kind of just like a 2 or 3 shot kind of campaign setting. Maybe someday we'll come back to it. But it was a setting where I basically just took, well, Futurama, The Outer Worlds, different things like this, Borderlands, and just kind of mashed them all together. I created a futuristic sci-fi setting, a planet in an outlying frontier territory where corporations are in charge, but it wasn't quite as dystopianly dysfunctional like things are in The Outer Worlds. There was a system of function there. There was still logistics and supply. The world wasn't dying slowly, and it wasn't so horribly mismanaged that everything was going to fall apart. Things were still functioning. It was still dystopian. It was still sci-fi, this brand of sci-fi, but it was hilarious and fun. The players just absolutely had a blast, especially throwing in those Borderlands elements for the game as well too. It all just meshed together and came together really nicely. But part of what made that work is most of the players understood what the references were. Most of the players understood the feel of the setting that they were throwing themselves into, and that's probably the most important thing. If you're gonna mash up a couple of different things that none of your friends have really ever heard of, it can be a unique introductory experience for them, but they're not going to understand quite as well how to fit. They're not going to quite understand as well what kind of characters they should making and what kind of tone they should bring to the setting. Just to give you an example, we did a bunch of custom races for this setting. We just made things up. I worked with the players. One of my players wanted to play a Mothman, and she wanted to be a doctor. And the particular design we put together was good strength, good charisma, and no bonuses to intelligence. Oh, and you know, a little bit lacking in the dexterity department there, and we just really built up this character, and we just racked up her medical skill, gave her the surgery feat. We did everything we could to give this character incredible medical bonuses. But as part of that, I said, you know what I'm thinking here is, you're a brilliant doctor, but there's such a huge array of races, right? And she goes, yeah. Well, think about how complex it is doing surgery on a human body. Think about the fact that we are still constantly and continually advancing our knowledge, our medical techniques, the science and technology surrounding all of that. It's a lot for any one person to know, right? And even though, and even then, when it comes down to operating on the human body, you have specialists for different areas. You have heart surgeons, brain surgeons, etc., etc., etc. And she goes, yeah, you know, you're making some interesting points here, but what are you getting at? I said, well, I think that in your character's case, you're not going to always know exactly how to operate on different people. I will let you be a thorough and complete surgeon for your own race and one other race. Once you've picked that other race, anybody else, you have to make a requisite medical knowledge check. You have to do a life sciences check or a xenobiology check, and you need to see if you can figure out how to treat them. Otherwise, you're going to pull a Zoidberg, Dr. John Zoidberg from Futurama. And she went, oh, that's perfect. I love it. And it resulted in numerous hilarious instances. There's one particular point where they took a hover vehicle, drove it down a river, down this, and the river dropped down into almost like a canyon-like point, and they were flying down it and ended up wrecking into some rocks. And the driver, who appeared to be a 12-year-old human child, which was one of the other players, he was a changeling, she made a medical check and rolled a 1. And it said, okay, you know he has a concussion, but the brain on a human's clearly not in the head. It's down located near the rump. So she's sitting here, has this child face down in the water, and is just icing his ass, trying to reduce the swelling in his brain. Eventually, somebody realized, oh no, and pulled the kid out and helped him, but it just led to some hilarious moments. Absolutely fun, absolutely incredible. And that flexibility that I keep talking about, being flexible, working with your players, communicating with them, all lends itself really well to a mashup setting. It works really well in whatever setting, whatever game you may be running. But working with them, especially for a mashup setting, and making sure that they understand what the references are, what it is they're doing, will be immensely helpful and really can lead to a whole hell of a lot of fun. It's not something I'd recommend doing for a brand new DM. In most instances, it requires a certain level, I don't know, I'm not quite sure how to put it. There's a certain amount of je ne sais quoi that goes into it here. A little bit of experience, knowledge of the rules, understanding what exactly it is you want to do and how to establish that tone and create that fun, and be willing to have that flexibility there and to understand what will and what will not thoroughly upset the balance of the game. And certainly a certain amount of imbalance is unavoidable, but you know, especially if you're creating new races and the like, you need to kind of balance things out a little bit. Mashing things together to create that feel requires you to understand how to balance things out a little bit. But it can be a whole hell of a lot of fun, absolutely, especially since, again, you're presenting your players with something new and unique, and maybe something that they have not tried before. Certainly it went over well, and it's a setting they want to go back to. They ended up ultimately going on to forming their own company. They went to a job fair to try to recruit people to their company, and as part of the job fair, they started sabotaging other companies' tents, their stalls, their setups, and trying to destroy these other fledgling businesses in order to attract more workers to their own place. And they tried to think of a name for their company. They couldn't think of anything, so on their digital display banner, they put 3 question marks. And they're also a body disposal company. Their official job is cleanup and disposal, and they go to different job sites to clean up the bloodbath, the gore and viscera. They dispose of the bodies and make the sites prepped and clean for further adventures. specifically, they are cleaning up after other adventurers. They're cleaning up after rival gangs, after rival businesses. They're cleaning up any violent sites. They clean it up, do a quick remodel, make sure everything is spick and span, and they have it set and ready to go for the new people to move in. Absolutely so much fun, and I thought the name was perfect. Just 3 question marks, because it fits. Where's the body at? Anyways, it was a great deal of fun, and doing a mashup can be just, again, it can be an absolute blast. And, well, we'll be breaking this one up into a couple of different little parts. This is going to be a short series, though. I think I can get this done in about 2 or 3 parts here, not counting this particular introductory episode. And I apologize that it's a short one. Like I said, it is very late. It's about 5 o'clock right now in the morning for me. And, well, yeah. With that said, if you've been enjoying today's video, well, maybe drop a like for me, or go down into the comments down below and let me know your thoughts there. I'd certainly be happy to hear from you all, and I'm ready and willing to engage in discussion with every single last one of you. And also, if you've been enjoying content here so far, in a few moments there will be some videos popping up over here. Things that might be the best fit for you, the viewer. Another will be one of the most recent videos I have uploaded. So consider going over to those and giving them a like. And if you've been enjoying everything here so far, well, hell, why not consider subscribing? I know I'd certainly appreciate it. We'd love to have you be a regular member here at the Gamers Den. But with that said, I've been your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire. Thank you all once again for your time, and you all have yourselves a good night.